technology to create a better tomorrow, the Electrical Engineering Department of SISTEC Rathiwad campus presents you 1 week short-term training program, STTP, on recent trends and advancement in electrical engineering with challenges, opportunities. And it is organized by Rajiv Gandhi Pradyogiki Vishwavidyalaya under TechUv 3. Imagining a more usable technology, improving to create better and easy version, and implementing to benefit mankind. An online diaspora and platform for technical students to strengthen and sharpen their technical soundness. Dear friends, ideas are only useful if they tend to deliver quality in the existing system, leading to happiness. Everything begins with an idea. Everything begins to shape up before its actual existence with an idea. Ideas induce imagination. Imagination fluxes out to reach for improvement. And these, together with proper implementation, makes a dynamic engineer. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, today we have on DAS, on online DAS, Dr. A.C. Chaube sir, Coordinator TechUp 3 RGPV. Dr. Jyoti Deshmukh, Principal SISTEC Rathiwad. Mr. Ashish Singhal, HOD, Electrical Engineering Department, Rathiwad campus, and highly qualified and expert speakers of this 1 week short-term training program. We have with us during this entire 1 week short-term training program, Bala Subramaniam C, retired General Manager, BHEL and International Trainer and Freelancer Consultant. Dr. Rajesh Kumar, Professor, Electrical Engineering Department, MNIT, Jaipur. Dr. Tripta Thakur, Professor, Manit Bhopal. Dr. N. Benual, Associate Professor, BIET, Jhansi. Dr. Akash Saxena, Professor, Electrical Engineering Department, SKIT, Jaipur. Mr. Pawan Mathur, Senior Manager, Crompton Grips, Mandideep, Bhopal. Dr. Vinod Singh, Director, CEMT, Jhansi. And Mr. Deepak Kumar, Senior Engineer, E&M, ACOM India Private Limited. Dear friends, I would like to request and invite respected Principal Madam to share her views and bless us with her kind words. Principal Madam, please.
Good morning to all the participants and honorable guests. Honorable speaker of today's session of this 1 week is
due to some problem, madam has left. She is going to join.
I have joined, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, madam, you are audible.
Okay, all right. So, respected dignitaries, all dear students and the organizing committee members, hearty welcome to this 1 week STTP program organized by Electrical Engineering Department of SISTEC Rathiwad, which is based on the recent trends and technologies as well as the advancements in the electrical engineering, wherein in this program, the speakers, all respected speakers will be addressing the different challenges and opportunities which are upcoming in the field of electrical engineering. I extend my heartiest thanks to Honorable VC sir as well as Chaube sir and the entire team of RGPV. They are our constant supporters for everything which we are organizing. Every day they are motivating us and for doing better and better day by day. So heartiest thanks to honorable sirs. And I wish that this program will be a wonderful program, because if I look at the electrical engineering as such, then I feel that although the trends in the electrical engineering are not rapidly changing as compared to the fields like, or the domains like the computer engineering, but certainly the impact on the jobs in the field of electrical engineering is certainly as comparable as the other fields also. So I feel that the students should understand all these trends and technologies, and they should actually certainly be a keen observer and keen learners at this point of time. I am seeing that most of the students are the undergraduate students. So this is high time wherein you can understand the changes which are upcoming. You should even actually prepare yourself for these changes and learn out of it. As you all know, that at our institute, we are constantly inspiring you for building the skills, your skills and skill development of yours during these 4 years. So unless and until you develop yourself practically with all the trends which are upcoming, you will not be a good choice when you will be out of this degree course and will be joining the industry. So because industry ultimately demands the people who are knowing the work. So unless and until you are practicing it, you will not be the first choice of the industry. So please gear up, sharpen your weapons, sharpen your knowledge, and we are constantly there to help you out. Our speakers, our mentors, as well as the associated industry people who are associated with us, they are also there to help you out. But it is ultimately you have to come up, you have to prepare, you have to work day by day on your skills. So I'm hoping that these 5 days will be a great learning experience to every one of you, and you will be understanding each one's concepts which are being shared by the experts. Try to understand it, ask them openly what and what not are required, and have open discussion with them, so that you can better understand the things in the upcoming 5 days. So all the best. Again, congratulations to the electrical department for the wonderful organization. And I'm hoping that this 1 week XTTP program will be a great success in terms of building the knowledge as well as the skills, not practically, but yes, theoretically, at least the understanding in terms of the electrical engineering trends. So thank you so much. Thank you. Over to Pankaj sir for the further things.
Thank you so much, madam, for your constant motivation and encouragement to us. Now, I would like to brief about TechUp 3, that is basically TechUp. The project, third phase of Technical Education Quality Improvement Program, very keenly referred to as TechUp 3, is fully integrated with the 12th 5-year plan objectives for technical education as a key component for improving the quality of engineering education in existing system, and support to strengthen few affiliated universities to improve their policy, academic management practices. The project is implemented through the Ministry of Human Resource Development, MHRD, Government of India, as a central sector scheme, wherein 100% funds are provided as grants to the states, institutions, and ATUs. The project focuses on the following objectives, which we must learn: improving quality and equity in engineering education, system-level initiatives to strengthen sector governance, and performance-wise include widening the scope of affiliating technical universities, that is ATUs, that is to improve their policy, academic, and management practices towards affiliated institutions. Tooling arrangements to build capacity and improve performance of institutions and ATUs participating in various focus states. Following are learning objectives of short-term training program. The program shall enhance the technical capabilities of all the participants. The short-term training program is actually aimed for the students to get more exposure to learn new inevitable technical updates and skills in the field of electrical engineering, catering current need of the socio-economic development for the nation. The short-term training program is also planned to have following objectives: to deliver basic and elevated ideas and knowledge about the recent electrical engineering challenges, opportunities, and hence skill required for sustainable development for socio-economic ecosystem of the nation. Innovation and challenges in a smart grid and a smart metering system solutions. To outline recent developments in the field, earthing and lightning protection system. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, dear dignitaries, it is my privilege to introduce Dr. S.C. Chobe sir, who is behind this TechCube, who is coordinator of TechCube 3 of entire Madhya Pradesh. Dr. S.C. Chobe sir has about 30 years of teaching and research experience. He is actively involved in the research related to the power system security, voltage stability, and microprocessor applications. He also worked exhaustively on the various classical and soft computing optimization techniques. He has supervised 7 PhDs and more than 100 MA dissertations. He credits to his name over 85 publications in various journals. He has been acclaimed for his work and had awarded twice Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya Memorial Medal, twice with Tata Rao Prize, Gold Medal, and thrice with Certificate of Merit by Institute of Engineers. I would like to request respected Dr. S.C. Chobe sir to address our online diaspora. Sir, please.
If you can start the video, I would like to request host to start the video from their side.
Sir, just a second, we are starting, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Professor Pankaj Sharma ji, for the nice introduction.
Welcome, sir.
Dr. Jyoti Deshmukh, Principal and Dynamic Director of SysTech Ratibad. Expert of the day, Mr. Subramania. Coordinator of this program, Sri Ashish Singhal ji, and all his team, management of SysTech Ratibad, and all the participants who are present here on this virtual platform to listen a 5 days FDP on recent trends in advancements in electrical engineering, challenges and opportunities. When this proposal was put up before the TechCube by Ashish, I tried to suggest him as usual that can you change this title as it will not converge to any final outcome. You have taken up such a title which does not indicate what you are going to do. Research advancement in electrical engineering, where you are talking about, are you talking about the cybersecurity application, electrical engineering? Are you talking about this smart grid, macro grid? Are you going to talk about the soft computing application in power systems or electrical engineering? When I just had to look over the total schedule, I found that it was every subject area was included in this. Then I could know that the title is very much relevant to this. You have included the smart metering, you have included the soft computing, you have included the micro grid, the smart grid. Every other day, students want to learn all these new topics, advances. What advancements are going on in electrical engineering? we are very, the electrical engineering, very traditional core subject, where still we are teaching the subject which our teachers used to teach, and even the teachers used to learn from their teachers. Everything has changed. As we have not updated ourselves, therefore sometimes we fail to update our syllabi and curriculum. And that is why our students are deprived of learning all those where really electrical engineering demands. The electrical engineering demands people who can work in the smart grid, microgrid, even in smart metering, where some electronics and the ICT background is required. As a teacher, we say that it is electrical engineering, you go through these motors, you go through the power system, go through the power electronics. Yes, you have to go. But what about the other areas which are still waiting for the electrical engineers? And it is equally true that all these subjects cannot be included at one glance in our syllabi. So this is a kind of where the student has to read beyond the syllabus. The TechUp3 has provided that platform where the institutions can organize this type of programs, and even they can go for engaging extra classes to their students. The objective is very clear. We have to provide a very satisfactory placement to our students. If you can provide the placement going through all the traditional subjects, okay, good. The students will learn later on, but no, it's a challenge for us. How to recruit our students? What is the demand we have to see in the society? And while going through all these subject areas, and the students sincerely attend this, they will be empowered. All the experts I can see, all the experts are really, well acknowledged, well knowledgeable, and they will contribute in this 5 days FDP. The other challenge is that in the teaching learning process, if you see the pre-COVID scenario, we're talking about the teaching learning and what is the job of the teacher, going into the classroom, deliver and come back. And the students sometimes note down their books, notebooks. Sir has taught this and this, that's all, okay. But now the students have got a different stress during this COVID. If you think that after the COVID, the post-COVID, the students will come in the classroom and the same tenses will start, students are not going to accept this. Why they are not going to accept? Because their learning skill has been improved. The pace of learning through this media, the online process has improved. Because short time, they have learned a lot. The teacher has also improved their skill, teaching skill. So in the post-COVID, it is you will find there's a transition. The content-centric is no more dominant. What the role of the teacher is to facilitate all the subject areas and the data in an organized manner. When using this technology. So when you are using some technology and putting that flavor to our students will learn. And then equal participation of the students is also demanding. We are sitting here, we do not know what the students are doing in the back curtain. We have to ensure that the students are, we are not interested for the crowd, we are not interested for the 100 students, 200 students, no. I want those students, where 30 students are sitting there, they should be active. Anytime if I call any students, yes, I'm here. Why students, what the problem with the students? They are just not coming on the camera. Okay, don't come on the camera, but when you are asked, you have to answer. You need to participate in this. I know that if you are not aware of this current topic, the present advanced, teachers there, instructors are there, experts are there who will be sharing their knowledge in such a manner which expects a very awareness among the students that they will be competent enough to come on the platform to discuss with the instructor. So all my dear students and all the professors, teachers participating in this, when you are here, you need a full concentration. That is equally important. Teachers are not looking over you. Only the teachers can ask some questions and you have to answer. And before participating in such platform, I just advise the students go through some content which is available in any other books. Books are available on the Google. Go through this, that if I am going to attend this particular program, what the questions I can raise. That is that kind of capability you should have. That no, we cannot spare you don't spare your instructor, teacher. You try to put up as many as questions, and if once one student raise hands to put up some questions, and the student will be equally serious this time, because everybody is listening him. What he speaks is being recorded, so the students will not make any nuisance. He will be seriously participating in all debates, and what he is getting, definitely it will be very, very beneficial for him today, and later the other students will be also benefited by the same students who had attended this. And all the students who are here, try to exchange your knowledge, try to give your knowledge to the others as well. That will make you more strong. So with all these words, again, I wish to extend my thanks. First, Honorable Vice Chancellor, in fact, that he has accorded all kinds of activities approval, and Dr. Jyoti Deshmukh, who has, Dr. Jyoti Deshmukh, who feels a pleasure in accepting all these challenges. And thank you very much to the principal and Ashish Singhal for always interacting with the TACUP office. And he's a demanding one. Give me some jobs, give me some work. I'm ready to work for the university and the college every time, day and night. That kind of enthusiasm, that kind of zeal is required from the faculty members. And in fact, Professor Pankaj Sharma, all the times, whether it is mechanical engineering or civil, all the times he is on the screen. And I wish to thank speakers, in fact, that he will be sharing his knowledge. Today's all the participants who are present here, only with the request that be here and listen carefully, participate actively. And finally, to Mr. Rohit and our TACUP office team, who has been working day and night during this COVID, when the whole college is closed. Sometimes I listen that this institute is closed, but our office remains open even more than 12 hours, more than 12 hours. In fact, I have opened the office for 24 hours. At any time, anyone can contact with the TACUP officers. Once again, thank you very much to all of you. Over to you, Mr. Singh.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for being an ideal example of inspiration and motivation for all of us. It was a pleasure hearing from such a senior dignitary. Now, dear friends, I would like to invite the driving force of this short-term training program. He is our HOD, Professor Ashish Singhal, sir. I would like to request Professor Ashish Singhal, sir, to come on the online diaspora and brief about the event. Sir, please.
Thank you, Pankaj sir. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Sunil Gupta sir, and Honorable TACUP Coordinator S.C. Chaubey sir, and respected Jyoti Deshmukh ma'am, Principal Sister Kar, Sister Ratibad, and also respected Admin Manager, Sister Ratibad, Mahesh Dwivedi sir. First of all, I would like to thank to all my mentor and the force which is behind me to run like this. Sir, I'm really thankful to you because I have learned a simple thing from your side. That is, कर्मण्य वादिका रस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्म फले हेतु भू मातु संगोत्सवा कर्मणा. Sir, with these such of beautiful lines, I always pay attention on my action. I always pay attention on my action. I'm not paying attention about my rewards, what it can be, because you all are my good force, which is always supported to me, to such a good things to my student. I start my speech with the purpose of the RGPV, which is a renowned university of the Madhya Pradesh, not only in the Madhya Pradesh, but also in the India. Even the purpose of the TechCube, which is a really icing on the cake when he entered in the RGPV. Because if I think that if TechCube is not there, such type of events cannot be happened in the private engineering college. Always, what I face a problem in last 10 years back, such events could not be possible. That will be possible by the help of the management. But now now you are here, sir, as a mentor, as a guider, as a supporter to build a private engineering college on a great extent. In these COVID situations, COVID-19, my dear student, really it's a very great exposure to us to learn something on the online platform. What I think that when you are learning from the mobile, when you're learning from the laptop, you are having a whole concentration about it. So you can build a concentration as well. I also built my concentration when I was studying in the class. It was a different environment, but when I'm studying with the mobile phone and the laptop, really I can build the concentrations. So many students are running behind, sir. Sir has already mentioned, all of the students are running behind to getting the certificate in this conference or such an event like FDP or STDP. I would request all my dear students and the faculty members, please learn something. Because if you have good learnings, if you have good skills, if you are having good technology relevant, definitely your certificate will be beneficial for you. Otherwise, it will not help you out. Because when you put the marks like I have attended such type of FDP or STDP in your resume, definitely the expert can ask regarding that FDP or STDP. So if you are unable to give the answer, it means you have just spent time, but I would say that it's a really waste of time. When you spend the time, please utilize it. It's a very important. Now, second important thing which I want to include in my talk, that is, for the student, we have initiated the things that this session is going to be a Facebook live session, right? So we are having this session forever for this on our Systech Ratibad page. So you will be, if whenever you are going through with this lecture further, when it's completed, this FDP or STDP will be completed. After that also you can be easily access these lectures. So these lectures will always available with you. So this is a good, fantastic, I would say, the initiative take by the Jyoti ma'am. Thank you, Jyoti ma'am, for giving us a chance to float on a Facebook live, and also help, thanks to the Chaube sir. Last not the least, I really thanks to the Chaube sir to joining such a so say a few words on, like, such a very important words to our students. Also thanks to the Chaube sir and his team. Rohit sir especially, he's a hard worker. I really learned a lot of things from the Rohit sir as well. And I'm also a part of the TechCube team, sir. I'm also a part of this college as well as a TechCube team always. So you take me at any time, call me at any time, give any work to enhance our college, even enhance our universities or enhance our students' skills, sir. Thank you so much, Pankaj sir, for giving a chance to say something. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you,
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful saying. कर्मण्यवादी कार्यस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचित। इससे बेहतर मैसेज कुछ नहीं हो सकता था। थैंक यू सो मच। नाउ डियर फ्रेंड्स, I would quickly walk you all to all the schedule for today's session of short-term training program. We will have one prominent speaker who will enlighten us with his vast knowledge. Let me introduce once again Mr. Balasubramaniam C. He is retired General Manager, BHEL, and international trainer and freelancer consultant. Mr. Balasubramaniam C. He is a professional trainer in smart grids and smart meter technology. After retirement from BHEL with over 37 years of experience in various capacities, he had a distinguished career in meter-related projects, from concept to commissioning, heading meter engineering, testing, quality assurance, and project management. Worked as member of the Board of Studies and visiting professor in EEE departments at Kalasingan University, India. Presented over 60 technical papers on tau measure in India at METS, Metering Apparatus and System, Glasgow. Presented technical papers on latest metering technology at Malaysia, Mauritius, Indonesia, Bangladesh, South Africa, and China. Have wide experience in product design, testing, engineering, and quality meter related products on the latest technology trends. He was member of BIS, CBIP, REC. He was trained at Siemens, Germany on the latest metering technology. He was an invited international speaker at Metering China, Hangzhou in 2012 and delivered a lecture on smart metering technology. Technical papers were presented Metering India 2013, 2015, and 2017 on smart meter technology. Developed excellent teaching skills in training professional on SMSG technology. Delivered invited lectures at PSTI, ESCI, CEES, NPTI, GETI, IIC, and CPRI. Software companies like Ericsson, ProArc, IBM, Honeywell, etc., etc. Delivered keynote speech at national and international conferences, conducted workshop in India, South Africa, Lesotho, Saudi Arabia on the smart grid and smart metering technology. Delivered lectures on SAT FDP on several universities. Published around 110 articles on LinkedIn on SMSG. Advisor training workshop on SMSG, selected as jury panel in Best Practices Award 2017. Dear friends, dear students, I would like to invite and like to over this chart, this online diaspora to Balasubramaniam. Over to you, sir. Sir, please.
Thank you so much, sir, for a very good introduction.
Welcome, sir.
So nice of you. So I will be starting straight away the presentation, as probably we have spent around 15 more minutes actually. So kindly bear with me for the time elapsation. So I would like to straight away go for the presentation. Kindly mute your audio systems and also video system to avoid echo, because this particular online teaching is one thing, this disadvantage is mainly the ecosystem, and everybody should clearly listen to what we say and ask questions based on what has been presented actually. So this is my humble request. So with this, I will close my video also and open the audio system, and we will go for the presentation straight away. All of you, can you see the screen?
Please share your screen, sir. It's not visible.
Okay, 1 minute, just hold on. Just hold on. Can you see now?
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay, very good. All of you, can you see the screen, please?
Yes, sir. It's
very
visible.
Nice. Very nice. If there is any problem, kindly raise your hand and then ask the question. Okay, but I suggest that we can finish off the presentation and dedicate around 10 to 15 minutes for question and answers, and also so that will be better. Yeah, I think a lot of good things were heard during the inauguration on the recent trends and advancements in electrical engineering, with a lot of challenges and opportunities. So first of all, let me thank the organizers for having organized a wonderful program, online program in this COVID situation, which will be very, really important to understand what is happening on the technology front. So this training program, I will be covering two subjects. Morning, I will be covering challenges in smart grid and smart metering technology and applications. So this particular subject is a new subject, and probably, you have to focus on what is happening today, not only in India, but also outside the country, and how we can learn from this platform, the new trends and new technologies, which is going in a very big way, particularly with regards to the upgradation and also with regards to the adoption of the technology in the Indian environment. I think with this introduction, we will start straight away the presentation. It is my customary thing wherever I go, I will just chant this Bhagavad Gita shloka. Nahi gnanena sadrusham pavitram iha vidyate tatsvayam yoga samsiddhaha kalen atmani vindati. The saying is, there is nothing better than knowledge which can purify your mind, your soul, your spirit, and knowledge only purifies. The more the knowledge you gain, you'll be more purified actually. In fact, with this sort of introduction, this is from Bhagavad Gita chapter 4 verse 38, we will start our talk today, and probably, as I indicated, this may go beyond 12:30 because the subject is very huge. I have just condensed certain things for the benefit of the students and also benefit of the faculty members. So we will start with straight away the vision, smart grid vision. As you can see here, the vision is stated by every country. Each country has its own vision. And each institution, as you rightly know, is having its own vision. In the smart grid vision, there are terminologies, different terminologies. I just read out the vision. To transform the power sector into a secure, adaptive, sustainable, and digitally enabled ecosystem that provides a reliable, quality energy 24/7 for all with active participation of stakeholders. Here there are some terminologies. Number one, a grid. Number two, the smart grid. Number three, digitally enabled. Number four, stakeholders. I think we will understand this and then proceed further. First of all, I would like to ask a question. What is a grid? I think you may be knowing this question, but still I would like to answer this. A grid is an electrical circuit, a simple electrical circuit. It is an electrical network with lot of peripherals. Okay. So then what is smart actually? Smart, you can say the smart student. Being smart is the ability to put ideas together and create solutions so that the problems could be understood. It can be addressed. Being smart is the ability to focus, ability to concentrate, and ability to communicate. So all the features are embedded here. A grid will communicate. A grid will focus on problem. A grid will analyze the problem. That is what it is. That then it becomes a smart grid. Okay. Then there are certain things like what? Stakeholder. Who is a stakeholder? A stakeholder is a user, a person with an interest or a concern, or he has his own feeling, his own sort of subjectivity on that particular thing. For example, the trifurcation of the distribution, the electricity company today to generation company, distribution company, transmission company, etc. When you have the generation company, the transmission company will be a stakeholder. For a transmission company, the distribution company will be a stakeholder. For a distribution company, I and you are the stakeholders. That means to say, whole of India is a stakeholder here for the particular problem with regards to what we are facing today in respect of the electrical grid system. What is a digital platform? That is another terminology which is coming here. Digital platform is a digital technology idea, like, the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, information technology, communication technology will be used along with software and hardware. The platform is said to be digital at the time. So digital platform is a platform which uses the digital technology. For example, today, the banking industry has been digitized. So we are also going for the electrical system to digitize today. The platform, the substation digitization, the transmission digitization, the substitution for all these things like a distribution digitization. And finally, in the distribution system, we are encountered with the metering philosophy, and the metering philosophy is being digitized, and the grid is being digitized. So this platform is known as digital platform. I'm going to talk to you more about these things as we proceed further when we talk, more about, the application-oriented thing in this particular philosophy of understanding. I think we have understood now the main things which is going in focus, like number one is the transformation. Number two, the power sector. Number three, a secure and adaptive thing. Number four, a sustainable thing. That means to say 24/7 power to the entire user. And digitally enabled ecosystem. That means to say you are now generating power with a centralized generation. The centralized generation is one which will have an impact on not allowing the distribution network or not allowing the distribution generation, like the solar, the wind, the biomass, and so many other things. I'm going to talk to you more about it as we proceed further. Are you clear now? So we will proceed further. Okay. So this is the component of a grid, actually, an electrical grid, I told you. So here, smartness is not added. What is smartness in the grid? As I told you, it is a convergent technology. The technology which takes into account, number one, the information technology. Number two, the communication technology. Number three, the existing electrical technology. When they are intertwined, you will get a smart grid. We will see how it works. We will see how it acts. We will see how it is adopted. We will also see how this is accepted in the environment. So the grid can be broken down into main components like generation, transmission, distribution, and load center. So the diagram is a basic overview, but it does not fully illustrate, the highly interconnected nature of the transmission system. So you can see here the figure. I think you can see generating station. You have the generating transformer, which steps up, and then it goes to the transmission line. The transmission line is at a higher voltage to avoid the I squared R losses, and then it goes to a substation transformer where it reduces. The voltage is reduced actually to the level of distribution, and then it goes to the distribution company, and distribution company will distribute the power to the household, industry, and other application. This is a typical electrical grid which we have been using for the past 120 years, and it has not undergone a major change today in respect of the technology. So when we talk of this particular technology today, we would like to discuss more about, the identification value of that, the ascertained value of that, and also the intrinsic changes that is going into the philosophy with which the electrical system is being conceived. Components of the grid. What are all the main components of the grid? Number one, as I told you, is the generation. Number two, distribution. Number three, transmission. Number four, utilization, where we are all coming into picture. So generation, what it does? It creates electrical energy. So generation is fueled by what? It's fueled by coal, nuclear, wind, gas, biomass, solar, hydro, so many other things which are coming into picture today. We are going to discuss more about it actually. Other component of the grid is the load. As you can see here, there are three pictures which have been encountered here. Number one, the left one is a meter, an American meter, because American meters are round in shape. In fact, international specification doesn't specify the geometry of the shape of the meter. The meter as we have conceived here and we have been using in India, they are all rectangular based meters, because we have taken, most of the Indians have taken technology from Europe. Most of the European meters are squarish or oblongish in construction. In fact, when you use the power, actually, as you can see, the right side, you can see an incandescent lamp, which is totally outdated today by the LED lamps. And this particular lamp will act as a load. The consumer of electricity, loads can be very small, loads can be very big. The smaller load, you can say a cell phone charger, which consumes very, very small power. I'm going to talk to you more about it as I proceed. So large industrial facility will consume tens of millions of watts today. That is the power consumption pattern today in the environment. In fact, when we talk of the other part of the grid, it is the distribution. Primary purpose is to serve loads, and your house is connected to a distribution system. Generally it is radial. That means non-networked in nature. So not used for interstate commerce. That means it is not used for state-to-state tariffing purposes. When you transmit power, when you transfer power from one state to the other state, naturally you have to account for it. For such accounting, this distribution mechanism is not coming into picture. Next is a transmission system in the grid. As I told you, the grid is an electrical network of generation, electrical network of transmission, electrical network of distribution, and also the consumer total package is added on to the circuitry to make the grid. That means we have not made it still smart. We will see how we can make it smart and how we can make this particular grid in line with the international trends, what is happening today. So it used to make power long distance from generation to load with losses, highly interconnected for enhanced reliability. The interstate system for the electricity, the traditionally built to enhance the reliable, vertically integrated utilities. That means to say the utilities are integrated vertically. So a critical part of the electrical market, and lot of new things are happening in this particular transmission system, which I'm going to talk to you as I proceed further. The next most important thing is supply-demand equation. It is an economical thing, actually, in the sense, when the demand is more, the country is said to be more prosperous. So there must be a balance between the supply and demand. As you know, electricity by nature is not easy to store. It's very difficult to store. So supply must always be equal to the demand at any given instant of time. I think probably this particular philosophy is very important, when you follow the equation. But this is an ideal situation. Never the supply and demand will be equal. The new battery technology, like, the lithium trioxide battery, the sodium sulfur battery, solid state battery, they're all new battery systems which are coming up today in the environment of power storage mechanism. In addition to that, we are having a lot of other things like compressed air, thermal storing, pumped hydro storing, flywheel storage, and we can see a lot of things like storage mechanism here. Like, the pumped hydro energy storage, compressed air energy storage, latent heat thermal energy storage, high temperature thermal energy storage, kinetic energy storage system like flywheel mechanism, hydrogen cell technology, which is the new technology which is coming up actually, where they use the hydrogen cells actually to store the electricity and can be used. And the most important thing today, which is coming up today in Indian environment, is the public hybrid electrical vehicles, like, the plug-in hybrid electrical vehicle, which will also act as a storage mechanism, because the excess electricity is being fed into the grid after it is being consumed for the purpose of motorization. So next, we will go an analogy to the power system as human body, and hence, how the smartness is built, we will understand here. I think the human body, he is the user actually. Okay. And then, you are having the heart. Heart is equated to the generation. because 24/7 heart pumps the blood actually to the system. So if it stops pumping, naturally you don't have power. That means to say there is no life actually. So generation is equated to the heart. And here you have the transmission system is equated to the main arteries, which carries, the main blood to the body. And then the other important thing is sub-transmission system. It is subarteries. So subarteries will carry the sub-transmission system, which is further divided into the smallest part of the main transmission system actually. Okay. And then the distribution is equated to the capillaries. That means which carries the blood to the other portion of all portion of the body with the small minute things actually. Okay. And the main focus is actually the RLDC, the regional load dispatch center, which is from where, the load is being dispatched. And then the action is being dispatched from the human body, the brain. So we act according to the brain. We talk according to what it says. And we do everything according to its wish. And then that is how the brain is the primary factor, and how, the entire system to a electrical power analogy is being done. As you can see here, the generation, like, what we have in human body and what we have in power system today. Blood pressure is equated to the voltage. Okay. Heartbeat is equated to the frequency. The pulse, normal healthy pulse is 72 beats per minute. And not in the system today in India, it is 50 cycles, whereas in US, it is 60 cycles. Okay. So that depends upon the country's option and choice, because we have taken normally the philosophy from European system, and most of the European system, they are still adopting 50 cycles per second. Okay. And then here, stress and anxiety, the cause is stress and anxiety. And here, load generation mismatch. So this is a very important thing to be understood actually. And the focus of this today's discussion primarily is, how this particular thing is being encountered with. Heartbeat deviation is the frequency deviation with which, we adopt the system into a real working conditional things. So when the frequency is more, naturally the heartbeat deviation also changes according to that. In this sense, when the frequency is more, naturally what happens? The grid will finally collapse. In the sense, we say that the grid is not functional. So similar thing, we have now equating, we leave the human body here and take further in our discussions to the power system, where we have different entities for discussion and different things to be discussed more. So here, the smart grid component. As I told you, the smart grid, the grid will become smart when you add the additional technology. So we have to focus on additional technology, like, the convergent technology. Number one, as I told you, the information technology. Number two, the communication technology. Number three, the most important thing, like, the machine learning, the data science, and the sophisticated technological things which have gone into this particular integrated mechanism. So today, the smart grid comprises of these parts actually. As I told you, the new synchrophasors, sensors and synchrophasors are added to the transmission system to make it more reliable, more acceptable, more stable. So that is one stage of making, the grid a real a grid which will serve for 24/7 power supply system. Renewable energy and electrical storage is other mechanism. And you are now making the generation, not the centralized generation, but the distributed generation. What is distributed? You add all other technological things of generation, like, the solar generation, the wind generation. Make use of that and integrate that with the grid to make the grid more powerful and more applicant for the system application. Okay. Distributed power generation, as I told you. Smart grid is one of the most important component, in the smart grid mechanism, which I'm going to talk to you in the afternoon more about it actually. And also building automation, like, the substation automation, and also the transmission substation automation. All these things will act as a prologue to the entity of electrical system upgradation with which, we are talking today. Demand response and utility rates. That means to say responding to the demand. That means as the demand is more, how the grid will respond to the system is a very, very important aspect to be understood actually. Okay. So a smart grid will make it easier for people to get information about the electricity they use, so they can make better choice about how they want to consume energy. Make it easier for power providers to know about the healthiness of the grid, and also to take actions to make it a reliable, efficient, acceptable grid entity. Make it easier to fully integrate the intermittent power production from distributed renewable generation sources. So this is what finally coming into picture. So smart grid things to work on. We have here, I think, the internal periphery and external periphery. I will give you the examples as we proceed further. We'll look at the figure. You have here the storage option, which is a very important thing, from the point of electricity generation, to make use of electricity as you wish, as you have. Quality of power. This is a very, very important subject. 24/7, you must get quality of power without sacrificing anything. What is quality of power? Set voltage, set frequency, set harmonics, set distortion. Everything shall be in accordance with the set values. Then only you can say that the power is qualifying for the quality requirements. Energy efficiency, how you can efficiently transmit the energy without undergoing major losses. That we have to really discuss that in a general thing actually. Demand response, responding to the demand. Market, how the market is changing, the scenario of market is changing, because electricity is now available in open market. In the sense, you can buy electricity as you wish according to the statement, what we are making today. Self-healing technology. That means, as there is a fault in the system, the fault is totally corrected by automatic mechanism with which it is possible. It was not possible earlier. In fact, human intervention was a must during those days. Today, it is possible with the self-healing technology. It heals on its own and resumes on its own, and then doesn't involve any human interface, because there is a communication system. There is not only communication system, the IT systems are embedded into the whole mechanism with which it is possible for us to derive the optimal use of the energy system with the application. That is what finally coming into picture. Generation is another important thing with which we are now concerned. We will discuss more about it as we proceed further. Okay, so this is the smart grid. It comprises of several applications, as I told you: the power plant, thermal, hydro, photovoltaic, renewable, wind, ecological vehicles, and offices and buildings are connected actually, with which it is possible for you to cater to their requirement. Homes, independent homes, factories, and this particular thing will make the grid to get the customers from all angles, from all entities, to make sure that 24/7 supply is available to you at any instant of time, under any instant of application, with quality of power as the hallmark, which is a very essential statement to be made from the point of smart grid requirement. It is time to think different today. We are now moving into the digital platform. As you know, naturally, it calls for not only digital platform, but also to make sure that it provides you what you need actually. While the smart grid utilizes the latest technology to achieve its goals, achieve its objective, it is just about technology. Implementation of smart grid will require a complete rethinking of public policy, utility business model, business process re-engineering, and also the behavior of the customer. So there is a total paradigm shift actually. So that means to say, what we have been talking for 120 years is getting faded away today by this virtual technology, with which it is possible for us to conceive and move towards the 21st century with a big bang, stating that we are in line with the international trends, and the application is similar to what they are using today in their mechanism of electrical engineering. According to US Department of Energy, DOE, Department of Energy, smart grid is the terminology used for an electricity delivery system that is integrated with modern digital and modern information technology to provide improved reliability, improved security, efficiency, and also ultimately at an optimal cost to the user. So that is what it is. Very, very important. So you just bear this in mind and then we will understand more about it as we proceed further. According to the Federal Energy Regulation Commission, the smart grid means a lot of things. But for us, the smart grid means a mere efficient transmission system that reduces emission, increases reliability, reduces carbon footprint. So FERC commissioner, a famous engineer, Philip Muller, he in fact made this point very clear. By minimizing line loss, smart grid technology will allow generators to produce less energy, less pollution, while delivering the same amount of electricity to customer. So you just imagine here, you don't have to increase the generation. You have to reduce the loss. In fact, one of the major things here is the ATC losses, the aggregate technical commercial losses. You bring it down to a level where it is acceptable to the international standard, then you have won the case. Smart grid does it. We will see how it is. According to the Electrical Power Research Institute, EPRI, which is similar to our CPRI, which is based in America, the term smart grid may be best understood as the overlaying of unified communication control system on the existing power delivery infrastructure to provide the right information to the right entity, example, end users, like devices, transmission and distribution system, customers, etc. At the same time, at the right time, to take the right action, to take the right sensitive things into account. It is a system that optimizes power supply and delivery, minimizes losses, is self-healing, and enables the next generation energy efficiently to demand response application. That means to say, answer to the requirement of what we need in the power industry, particularly with regards to the customer requirement, which is the ultimate in answering the need for the supply and need for the meeting the demand and supply balance equations. So this is what it is. So what does the smart grid look like? High use of renewables, 20 to 35% by 2020. I think this is happening not only in India, internationally also. Distributed generation and microgrid. This is where we are to a certain extent coming up in a very big way, particularly in Indian environment, because India is very rich in solar, very rich in wind power. So naturally we have to make use of that optimally. So therefore, scaling down into the requirement, one particular philosophy is actually the net metering, which I'm going to talk to you in the afternoon, where we sell local power into the grid, and excess power is transferred back to the grid so that the whole grid becomes interactive. And also distributed storage. Storage is distributed. That means the electricity storage, which is, as I told you, you store the electricity and sell the electricity. That becomes a part of marketing today. Smart meters that provide near real-time usage data, time of use, and dynamic pricing. Pricing will change, like gold price, like stock market price, because today's stock market will not be there even, I think, 10 minutes it will change. So like that, electricity will also change. Peak power is more, off-peak power is less. Ubiquitous smart appliances communicating with the grid. Energy management systems in homes, as well as commercial and industrial facilities linked to the grid mechanism. Growing use of plug-in electrical vehicle. We call this as PHEV, hybrid plug-in hybrid electrical vehicle. And network sensors and automated controls throughout the grid, which will have an enhancement for the usage of electricity as you wish and as you want. This is what, the finally which is coming into a picture, and this is how the smart grid will look like today. So this is what it is. This is a smart grid. As I told you, it has so many applications. For example, the smart grid shall be a reliable thing actually. 24-bar power 7 supply. Responding to the need, demand response. Integration into a microgrid or mini grid, whatever it is. Communication system, sustainability,
remote control scheme,
electrical storage, security, sensors, power systems, and information technology. So when you talk of these things, together, We will have a lot of information about what needs to be done from the point of understanding the technology information. For example, the sensor will play a major role here. Integration will play a major role here. Information technology assimilation understanding will also have a say, in the power sector mechanism. The grid shall be reliable, the grid shall be operative, the grid shall be secured, and also it will maintain the sustainability with the communication system where the integration is an entity with the micro and mini grids. How does smart grid look like? Increased penetration of renewable energy, increased technology with the utility, dynamic monitoring and electrical exchange between the customer and the utility, distributed energy resources, the normal state, standard approach for physical and cyber interconnections, highly economic, reliable, resilient distribution. So many things are coming up here. I think we have to discuss this actually. So you must have the distributed energy system. That means to say you can't depend on one particular source, and you have to have the integration mechanism, dynamic monitoring and electrical exchange. This is a very important thing. As and when the electricity charge is more, you just pass the benefit to the customer. And also as the electricity charge is coming down, you just pass the benefit to the customer. So this is not happening today. You are paying what we know as what is called a flat rate. Whether you consume less during peak hour, whether you consume more during off-peak hour, there is no incentive given. So that such incentive is very important actually, because customer ultimately is to be benefited. Okay, so this is what it is. Next, let us demonstrate a smart grid. How does it look like? This is a demonstration of a smart grid. The Electrical Power Research Institute, EPRI, who have conducted a lot of research actually, is an American independent non-profit organization that conducts research and development related to the generation, delivery, and use of electricity to help and address the challenges in electricity, including a reliable, efficient, affordable safety requirement and the environment. So very nice thing, they have done a lot of researches, particularly with regards to the grid mechanism, which is undergoing changes and transformation according to the research being done. So deploying the virtual power plant, like what I'm talking today on a virtual platform. Virtual platform is one where you create a platform. Similar to that, it is deploying the virtual plant. Demonstrate integration and interoperability. This is very important. Leverage information and communication technology. Integration of multiple types of distributed energy resources, DER. Now we will see how this particular thing will work on a grid like this. You just see how the demonstration is done. Just watch this, and then you can just ask questions later on. You just see this particular is a grid as such. You have a lot of things there actually. Now you can see the distributed generation has come into picture actually. You can see here the generation has been distributed. It is not the singular centralized power generation. Okay. So the second is the renewable generation. Wherever the renewable energy is there, make use of that to the abundant quality, to abundant extent, to make sure that it works according to your system, with which it is possible for you to integrate into the main grid mechanism. Storage is another very important thing in the electrical engineering, as I told you, which is changing drastically today. Not only battery, beyond battery. We talk beyond that actually. Okay. So demand response, responding to the need of the customer at the ultimate time where he needs power without any problem. He should be encountered with whatever is available today. He should be in a position to use it optimally. Multiple levels of integration and interoperability. This is how the entire smart grid demonstration has been made, to make sure that it works on a real virtual platform to provide you the necessary things, which is required for the electrical operation, with which it is possible for you to use the electricity optimally on 24/7 application. Knowledge domain, smart grid knowledge domain. It has two peripheries, internal and outer. So the internal one comprises of several things like, the electrical vehicle, the home area network in the communication technology, the transmission and distribution system, which is integrated here, the advanced metering infrastructure, which I'm going to talk to you later on, the demand response need for the day, and also the distributed generation. In the outer periphery, You have certain managerial things like, the energy management tool, the renewable energy application tool, the time of the day. That means as you use electricity, you pay according to that. FERC, the Federal Energy Regulation, caps and trade, because how you can make the trade with the electricity, and portfolio management on the renewable energy systems. This is how the smart grid knowledge domain application is being encountered in the smart grid mechanism. So the modernized electricity delivery system, which monitors, protects, automatically optimizes the operation of its interconnected elemental thing. Very, very important. The smart grid sits at the intersection of energy, electrical energy, that is present grid, information technology, that is the next technology what we are talking, and the telecommunication technology, which with it is possible for us to conceive what we call as a smart grid. A grid will become smart when it intersects the existing grid, intersects the information technology, communication technology. In the information technology, you have several things, like the computational management system, the computational intelligence system, artificial intelligence system, the machine learning, the data science. All these things are intertwined to make sure that this particular thing will have a holistic grid mechanism, a stable grid mechanism, which will provide you the necessary application with which you intend to do. And when you communicate properly, it becomes a smart grid. A grid will not be smart unless it is engineered, designed with the application, whatever I have been telling hitherto. Smart grid, when power meets intelligence. When power meets intelligence, what happens? So the generation becomes smart, the distribution becomes smart, the transmission becomes smart, the storage becomes smart, and the consumption also becomes smart. This is we are going to discuss in afternoon, how the consumption can be smart. Very, very interesting thing. Probably the technology will allow us to really think, in these things, when we talk more about the smartness in each entity of electrical engineering. Okay, the smartness is built in each and every corner of its application. For example, communication between the system components. So the system components, each will communicate. Smart generation will communicate with smart distribution, smart transmission, which will also communicate with the storage mechanism, which will communicate with the consumptional pattern, also which will communicate. The whole loop is closed, which is known as the communication loop actually. So interdisciplinary technology, data collection, data processing, data validation, and also the combination of that in the market and the grid operation is a total mechanism with which it is possible for us to circumvent with what we need to do in the situational aspect of the power industry, which meets the challenge today in the mechanism of what we call the intelligentsia. Okay. Smart grid can be better defined by its features. For example, fully automated power delivery network that monitors, that controls electricity flow, two-way, that is bidirectional flow of electricity and information between what? Between the power plant and the appliance. Appliance is what? For example, you are using your laptop. A laptop itself is an appliance. And all points in between. In between means what? Between the generation and your point, your computer, lot of things will happen because you are not getting power like that, just like that. Okay, lowered carbon footprint. How? By distributed generation. How? Reduced emission, increased access to renewable energy, like solar, wind power, whatever it is. Use of digital platform to save energy, to reduce losses, to reduce cost, to bring the cost optimally, and also increase the stability and reliability of the grid. Improved power quality for needs to meet the 21st century economy. Reduced disruption, improved efficiency, and better asset utilization with which it is possible for us to circumvent with the situation of what we need to do today in the environment. Okay, so generation in different aspects, how the smart grid will work. In generation, make it more distributed. That means to say, add more renewables, increased use of renewables. Transmission, in transmission, what are all the main improvements we have done? Number one, improve the transfer capacity of existing infrastructure reliably. Okay, reliability against uncertain events, avoid blackouts, avoid brownouts. Okay. And then, in fact, when we discuss, the cyber security itself is a major subject here, which we have dealt, in the power engineering management system. Distribution, which includes consumptional pattern, like, one aspect is, the smart metering, which we'll talk more. Demand response, also called as the load control system. Reduction of I2R losses, reduction of not only transmission loss, reduction of distribution loss, reduction of the loss due to theft of energy, etc., which is a very, very important thing today in the managemental system, particularly in the power management scenario, which is happening today in the country. So we must focus more on those things to find out. So here I'm talking to you more about, mapping the vision of smart grid, PDCA. What is PDCA? Somebody can tell me. PDCA is nothing but, a cycle of operation with which a power engineer is managed to operate the power mechanism. That means, P stands for plan. D stands for do. C stands for check. A stands for act. Plan, do, check, and act. This is what the smart grid will do. For example, we will see how. Here we have a lot of layers. One is the electrical layer. Over that we have the measuring sensors. We have the communication layer. We have the IT infrastructure. And we have the business application with which, finally the product is being sold actually. Or the customer is coming into picture there actually. We will see the electrical infrastructure, how, the thing, is happening here. Part B of accelerated power developmental program, the distribution system upgrade to support, the capacity addition and automation in the electrical infrastructure, which is happening today here. Measuring sensor is very important. Here, the DLMS meters. DLMS means the device, language, message, specification. With open protocol and equivalent to IEC 62056, which is the standard for our smart meter, and is being standardized for all system meters. In the communication, we have the DLMS, MPLS, particularly the MPLS is actually, the multi-protocol label switching mechanism in the communication technology, which is proposed for business application, for the same, which is being considered for SCADA backbone communication, and for also communication with equipment in the frequency domain, like, the WiMAX, the GPRS will be considered here. And communication itself is a very big subject. In fact, probably we can teach communication for more than 3 days because it has so much to be understood actually, particularly with regards to modern changes which is happening in the LoRa, in the 5G network, in the 5G platform, and also in the LOT platform, etc. That we will, it's a separate subject anyhow, and we are going to talk more about, when it comes to the requirement of communication. Okay, IT infrastructure. In fact, IT in distribution covers this aspect. Distribution mechanism, distribution substation automation, and also distribution as a total electrical engineering challenge will have an IT infrastructure built into that to make sure that it optimally utilizes the extensive possible power application into the system and applications. Business application, modeling. For example, envisaged business covers this particular aspect. That means how this particular plan, do, check, and act is coming into picture is a very important thing actually. So you measure, you analyze, you measure, you analyze, and you feedback, control. That means measure, analyze, feedback, control. This is how the PDCA is coming into picture. This is a very, very important example, internationally accepted example in the power cycle mechanism with which, the whole mechanism of particularly the smart grid operation is being understood on the platform, virtual platform with this. It is possible for us to really make sure that the platform with which, we are thinking of the smart grid mechanism will work, based on these particular engineering, infrastructural, organizational practices, which is being governed, on a very big scale to the electrical network. Vision. I think already I have announced the vision, particularly for India. Most of the countries, they have their own vision. Most of the undertakings, they have their own vision. But particularly when it comes to the question of answering to the requirement of vision, end of load shedding. That means 24/7 supply. Peak load shifting through a combination of direct control and differential pricing. Differential pricing is what? A price which is based on differential mechanism. Differential mechanism is what? You pay less according to what you consume, during the peak hour. Okay, that is what, the mechanism which we call the time of the day or the time of the use tariffing system. I think we will talk more about it as we proceed further actually. Okay, reliable power. What is a reliable power? 24/7 robust system with self-healing capability. First step is improved monitoring. Monitoring system is a very important thing which takes into account, a reliability application. Optimal power, cheap in the sense, a dramatic improvement in the ATC losses. Knowing where every kilowatt hour is going to the real time. Shifting the peak away from the costly power. Better utilization of asset mechanism. What are all the assets? Even generation itself is an asset. Transmission system is an asset. Distribution management system is an asset. So more sustainable power. Integration of green, renewable resources at a massive scale enough to increase the energy independence. So this will not happen overnight. Smart grids is a process, not a product. You can't buy the smart grid in the market. So you have to make the smart grid by what is known as undergoing the process philosophy, which I explained briefly in the earlier presentation. So this is how, the evolution has coming into picture. As you can see here. So this is step one. Step one is what? Curtailing ATC loss. That means bring down the ATC loss, aggregated technical and commercial losses. Driving transparency to the system. Driving accountability. Okay. The step two. This you have to do first and then go to the step two. Step two is what? Operational efficiency increase. Customer service excellence. Automated control system. This is very important. Third thing is very important. This is how you can realize a smart grid. That is number one, self-healing, adaptive, interactive, secure from attacks, cyber, accommodates all generation and storage, like, the what we call the accommodated storage generation, particularly distributed generation. Okay. Supports bidirectional energy flow, distributed across geographies and organizational boundaries. So if the first step takes 1 to 2 years, the second step takes 2 to 3 years, and then third step probably may take 3 to 5 years. If you start your activity of making a grid, smart grid today, after 5 years, you may end up with reaping the fruit actually. So this is how it's a process related thing, not, a product related thing. So you must understand this technology, very important actually. Okay. Very, very most essential thing which is happening today in the environment. So now you can see here the smart grid maturity map and current state internationally where we are talking. Number one is initiating stage. Number two is enabling stage. Number three is integrating stage. Number four is optimizing stage. Number five is pioneering stage. Okay. So some countries like India, APAC, LATAM, these are all countries actually, Africa, Estonia, so many other countries are coming into picture, which is still in the initiating stage. Enabling stage, UK and others. Part of USA also enabling stage. Integrating stage, Canada, Australia, Spain, Finland. There's a disturbance, please. Okay. Optimizing.
बाबू हमारू नौबत ना जाए ठीक बा
please somebody has
जी खा लेवल जाए
somebody has switched on the audio.
Yes sir,
please make sure that it is going to disturb so many people. Okay. Optimizing. What is this actually? This is USA, Canada, Australia, Sweden, Italy. So pioneering is the stage where you reach the ultimate final end, the goal, which I told you. The process, if you start today in the initiating mechanism, you will reach after certain years, that the product process will take its own time, for the application-oriented mechanism with which, we are talking today. That is the smart grid mechanism. Benefits. A modernized national electrical grid will become an electrical grid of the country. We talk of one grid actually. Okay. Improves power, reliability, power, quality. Okay. Optimizes facility utilization. Avoids construction of backup peak load power plants. Enhances capacity. and efficiency of existing electrical power network. It improves the resilience to disruption. It enables predictive maintenance, and also it enables self-healing mechanism. It responds to the system disturbances. It facilitates expanded deployment of renewable energy resources. It accommodates distributed power sources. All these things can happen. The smart grid is the future technology. Smart grid driving forces. We will see what are all the things actually. The drivers. Number one is demand. Number two is regulatory aspects. Number three is the internal mechanism. Number four is the technology application. So how to integrate the technology into the mechanism is a very important thing. So these are all the characteristics of a smart grid. It is like a hubbed gear actually. As you can see, smart grid at the center of the hub. You have here automation as one of the major things. Prediction, optimization, adjustment, protection, coordination. So these are all the main things which are all the characteristics of a typical smart grid in the Indian and also international mechanism. The technology will talk of what? Growth in the overall electricity demand, growing awareness. Regulatory aspect will talk of increasing the competition, market-oriented thing. Okay. Technology will talk of different technologies. As I told you, integration of technology in the electrical engineering, the renewable technology, the other technology like microgrids, okay, and the mini grids. In the technology, you also talk about the smart mechanism, the information technology mechanism, the data science mechanism, okay, and in the transmission technology, you talk of so many other things like the phasors, the synchro phasors, the WAM, wide area measuring networks, okay, and also in the transmission technology, you talk of the back-to-back DC power transmission to reduce the loss and to increase the optimization. Okay, these are all certain things which you should think of in the mechanism with which the technology is growing as a faster rate to compensate for the whatever is happening today in the environment. Okay, internal, like the theft and fraud detection, it detects the fraud. It also not only detects, it accounts the usage of energy. Okay, and also it provides a platform for demand side management, DSM. And also it provides a platform with which the meter-based billing rather than the estimated billing. Okay, actual reading is done online. You pay online. All these things will happen, once it comes as a reality factor. Okay, smart grid transformation. It represents a major enterprise transformation in the mechanism with which it is possible for us. Number one, the information technology, like the data science, the communication technology, the business system, the interoperability, etc. Next is the management of information. How the interval meter reading. The meter reads, within the framework. For example, 15 minutes it reads the recording. Order of magnitude, infrastructure and equipment meters. Okay, business transformation, process re-engineering. All these things put together will make what is known as a total major technology transformation in the history of transmission system, distribution system, generation system, and to make sure that it answers to the requirement of what you need for the application. Okay. So this is the model with which Indian entities and also international entities are hanging up to develop smart grid mechanism. So this is developed by NIST, National Institute of Standardization and Testing, which is located in America. And they do a lot of research work with regards to the implementation plan and also standardization. For example, the smart grid has 7 domains: generation domain, transmission domain, distribution domain, customer domain. And also it has a market where the electricity is made free flow, operations with which it is possible to operate upon and provide necessary support actually, like centralized operation. Service provider, like your third-party service provider. Okay, so the dotted line is the electrical flow, and also the block line is actually the secure communication flow, and also the cloud-like thing is the domain actually. So everything is interconnected, as you can see here. So without one, you can't talk with other actually. That means to say the whole thing is transparent. I'm talking to you, you are talking to me. So that transparency is built in the grid today, which is not there today in the environment. And so when you adopt smart grid, indirectly, you're adopting transparency in the electrical system. Not only transparency, the stability. And not only stability, the technology, not only the technology, you talk of 22nd century application, 21st and 22nd century, we are talking of what is needed, for the future. So that is what it is. So that is how we build our transmission system, distribution system, okay? And also we build, the confidence of the customers, okay? What does the concept of smart grid look like? Electrical infrastructure, intelligent infrastructure. So they are merged actually. As you can see here, the merger has taken place. So the new technology is born. The new technology is smart grid technology, okay? So the smart grid applications, for like what? One is demand response, okay? Demand response and dynamic pricing. Distributed generation and alternate energy sources. You find out, go on finding out the sources with which it is possible to integrate into the main grid. Self-healing, it heals on its own. With wide area protection, like, islanding, that means making it separate, and to provide necessary self-healing mechanism so that the main thing is islanded. And also you can provide the power still with an optimized power supply system, asset management and online equipment monitoring, real-time simulation and contingency analysis, okay? So participation of energy market, that means to say what? Shared information, continuously optimizing, intelligent responses. This is how the entire grid is built in actually. So this is how we talk more about the application. You can see here the grid architecture. How does it look like actually? When you talk of this, the utility enterprise, okay? Here you have the operation, like, the EMS, the WAN, the OMS, the outage management we call, the energy management system, okay? Distribution management system, demand response, distribution automation. All these things will come into picture here. So business application, like, the ERP, that is the enterprise resource planning, asset management, customer information service, okay? That is nothing but there is a one link, what we call as integrated network manager. This manages the entire official mechanism with which, the grid is being maintained. It has so many things like, the communication infrastructure. For example, you have the load tap changer, voltage regulator. You have the RTU. RTU is nothing but your remote terminal unit, which is the main thing, which translates your communication system into your entity application. So the M&P sensor, that is the monitoring and protection sensors, relays and PMUs, that is, your phasor measuring units, and the relay, which is application for that text. Home area network, like, the Zigbee platform. Zigbee is nothing but your radio frequency communication system. Home plug mechanism. And you have here a mini grid, a micro grid, etc. So this is how the architecture of a typical smart grid will look like. And we talk more about it when we discuss, the application of a smart grid mechanism. Okay. So this is the system architecture with future addition. For example, you have so many loads: washing machine, drying machine, dishwasher, refrigerator, lighting mechanism. Okay. And you have here, the dashboards, energy, vehicle management, charging system. So panel, inverter panel, etc. will coming into picture. Here you have the meter, you have the utility network, you have the power line, which is on the gray mechanism, gray line, and the blue one is the communication line, and you have the grid with the network is being done actually. This is the IEC 61968-1 interface reference model. We call IRM, interface reference model. So you have the distribution management function, business function, external to distribution, but to the generation and transmission management system, like, the enterprise resource planning, supply chain, and general corporate services, etc. So here we have the electrical distribution network. In fact, this particular IEC 61968 has different parts, like, part 3 for networking, part 4 for the asset management, part 5 for the operational and planning, part 6 for the maintenance and construction, part 7 for the network extension planning, customer management and customer support is dealt in part 8, and also you have the meter reading and control in part 9. And like that, we have different parts. Part 10 will deal mainly with the transmission system. So the integration of this into one particular horizon of application of technology will talk more about, the reliability standards with which, the interface reference model is being built actually for the application of our smart grid mechanism. So this is what it is. So IEC standards 61334, this is actually the PLC DLC communication, distribution automation, and IEC 61400, this is for wind turbine. So like that, we have series of standards which are given, in the notes actually. And also IEC 62056 is nothing but, metering, data exchange, meter reading, tariff and controls. So this will provide a necessary international standard. In fact, we have developed already the Indian standards also for this application. So this is the grid modernization. So today's electricity grid is only this much. That means it generates, it distributes, transmits, distributes, and then end of it. Whereas tomorrow's grid will have what? It will have so many things. It will generate, it will transmit, it will distribute, it will be utilized, and it is totally communicated. And it is made state of the art with regards to not only application, but also with regards to the technology domains, which is happening on the not only electrical engineering, but in the other part of engineering, like, the information and also the computational management, etc. Particularly with regards to the data science, artificial intelligence, all these things are integrated together to make this particular flow, an electrical flow, which is easily sort of, appreciated by the customer end. So that is what it is. The future. The smart grid program is not 1 or 2 years activity. It will take 4 to 5 years to fully mature from the storage date, starting date. So as it gets implemented, what we will do is we'll realize now new, better way to accomplish its objectives. There will continue to be a significant improvement in tools, technology, methodology, adaptability, acceptability. So we need to consider seriously what part we want to play. What are our specific strengths and weaknesses? That means to say we have to have SWOT analysis. That is, strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities. Apply to the electrical engineering. What can we do better than many others? Okay. What are some unique needs of the program that we can specially address? Now is the time to plan our future participation in the smart grid mechanism, smart grid program, with which it is possible for us to accomplish. And you should never think, smart grid as a blind man look into an elephant as he conceives different things actually. So this is what it is. He will conceive the ear of the elephant as a fan, the body of the elephant as a wall, the tail of the elephant as a rope, and he says that the whole thing looks like a tree. Some blind man, it don't look like that. Open your eyes, open your ears, and make sure that the technology is answering to the need of the day. The smart grid refers to an electricity transmission and distribution system that incorporate what? Traditional cutting-edge power engineering, sophisticated sensing and monitoring technology, information technology, communication to provide a better grid performance and to support a totally wide array of additional digital platform services to consumers. Energy Future Coalition. So this is what it is. A smart grid is an electrical network that uses digital and other advanced technologies to monitor and manage the transport of electricity from all generation sources to meet the varying electricity demands of end users. Smart grids coordinate the need and capability of all generators, grid operators, end users, and electricity market stakeholders to operate all parts of the system as efficiently as possible, minimizing the cost, minimizing the loss, minimizing the environmental impacts and hazards, while maximizing the system reliability and acceptability, and also the resilience and stability of the grid. Okay. Smart grids are a set of evolving technology that will be deployed at different rates in variety of settings, depending upon what we need to explore and what we need to have as a regulatory framework, investment framework. There is not one global smart grid, so regional drivers are totally different. Smart grid, summary of smart grid concept, advanced metering, this we will talk, AMI, okay, from the demand side management, peak shaving, energy efficiency, okay. Self-healing, that means how it heals on its own. supply reliability, okay, and also distributed energy resources, okay. This is how the power information flow to the system, okay, bidirectional flow of information and also power for better asset utilization. 5 domains of smart grid. What are the main 5 domains? One is the grid domain. You have here bulk generation, transmission, distribution. Smart metering is another domain. Smart metering is smart meter and advanced metering infrastructure. We will talk more about it. Customer domain. Smart application, smart appliances. That means each appliance is a smart appliance. That means whatever you are using, a boiler, geyser, heater, dishwasher, everything will communicate. Electrical vehicle, communication technology. These are all the customer domain. The communication network itself is a total system integrated mechanism. Service provider domain, like the market, the operator, the services, okay, and also it will have the supervise, so that provides the application, necessary application. Interfacing links between different domains, like the energy system. For example, there are 4 links here, as you can see. Okay, so you have a lot of other applications, with which the mechanism is being talked. For example, energy system, grid domain, communication domain, okay, smart meter, right, and the consumer domain, service domain. So we have all these things, put together. It will make the entire thing a sort of acceptable system with which the smart grid is being monitored. Function, as I told you, links, different links I told you. The link 2 is between smart meter and communication network. So exchange of metering information, management of meter data, interacting with the customers, billing and supervision data, interaction with the billing and the service provider data, smart meter from the metering angle. So that means to say from the measurement angle. So we will discuss more, in the second half actually. Okay. The link 4, I think you refer to the diagram where, the link 4 is between the smart metering and customer domain. How this particular thing is being encountered. Smart meter interacts with devices, including customer, like, the energy management system, ESI, that is the service provider, that is, the service interface system, in-home customer, and equipment. So devices in customer domain, like, including customer, like, the EMS, ESI, in-home, customer appliances, and equipment interact with smart meters. So this is how the different links are explained actually. So this is the reference architecture with which, it is possible for us to understand and conceive the model of a smart grid. For example, grid domain, consumer domain, and the service domain, communication domain. In the grid domain, you have power plant, you have the transmission system, the distribution system. In the service domain, you have the market, operation, services. In the communication domain, you have the different RF communication, power line communication, which is a subject by itself. Smart meter is in between, sandwiched between the consumer and the communication domain. So this is how a grid architecture will look like in an ideal situation for which, this maturity level of smart grid is coming into picture. Functional architecture, like, grid domain, power grid function, smart metering functions, customer domain, end user function, communication network, network function, service provider domain, application function, integrated together will make the system a smart system. For example, grid domain will be like this. It will travel through the mechanism with which it is possible for us to smart meter, customer domain, communication domain, and service provider. It goes as hand in hand to provide the necessary support for the infrastructural mechanism. So this is the 21st century Indian grid actually. So 70s, it was looking like this, 400 kV. This is the backbone, 140,000 circuit kilometers. 1980, we have compressed those things into a what we call the transmission grid mechanism, making Indian power grid an acceptable grid. And 90s, we added, 765 kV networking system, bulk transfer through high voltage DC transmission, robust transmission system. We have added synchro phasers. We have added VAMs. So high capacity, and also, we worked what is known as the FACTS, that is, the transmission system, flexible alternating current transmission system, that is also added here. And further, the smart grid is added in the next generation. That is, high capacity corridors are made use of this particular thing. This is the regional ties, with which the grid is tied actually. As you can see here, the northern grid, the western grid, the southern grid, the eastern grid, and the northeastern grid. The entire thing is connected with one national grid actually. So the grid operation hierarchy is like this. You have the national level, and you have the regional level: eastern, western, northern, southern, and northeastern. Okay, and you have the state headquarters: southern, SLDCs, district headquarters, sub LDCs. Okay, load dispatch centers, and finally you have the RTCs here. That is, the plant substation level. So this is how the grid operation hierarchy is coming into picture. Energy management architecture, you have different goals here to be played: SCADA, database, web management, and also in database system. You have online transaction processing, online analytical processing. So you have here the demand control pricing signal, meter data hub, and you have the individual meter demand systems, and the appliances. Finally, it is coming at the end actually. So this is how the architecture of energy management in a smart grid mechanism will look like this actually in the 21st century mechanism. Okay. So home area network, you have HAN, NAN, and WAN. Home area, neighbor area, wide area. And this particular thing will have here, the public internet network. So they have the AMI, advanced metering infrastructure. That is another thing, which I'm going to talk to you in the afternoon. So you have different HAN here: HAN 1, HAN 2, HAN 2, HAN 3, etc. HAN N. That is home area network, which is connected with the home area frequency system. With a smart meter, each home will have a meter actually. That means from the point of understanding the home area network with the neighbor area network, and we have, the wide mechanism with which, the sourcing is done on what is known as the distributed platform for the smart grid application. So I think we have come to the end of the presentation. So utilities get online data regarding energy consumption, regarding energy generation, regarding energy loss and revenue management. Energy theft can be minimized, and defaulters can be penalized by disconnecting the supply remotely. So use of available technology and infrastructure by integrating system to suit the requirements, like adopting different communication. Okay. Open protocol implementation simplifies the integration of meter network to ERP, SCADA system. That is, the enterprise resource planning and the customer management system. To have a similar growth in power sector, any meter of any make or any product of any make in the smart grid mechanism shall be needed by application from anywhere. Need for seamless connectivity. That means particularly the communication mechanism. For any advanced metering infrastructure system, mix up with different communication technology is required for end-to-end complete solution. We call E2E basis, like business to business. Okay. The communication technology for different levels, like the advanced metering infrastructure systems, are to be decided based on the existing communication infrastructure, utility, cost, etc. So this is how we have come into the last portion of the presentation. These are all the links which I have referred to. One thing I want to mention here: most of these presentation modules, most of these presentation material, whatever I have prepared, is taken from LinkedIn, because regularly we will be talking in LinkedIn and exchanging our views. All the students are requested to be the members of LinkedIn so that you will get the benefit. And most of the presentation, you don't have to ask for presentation. The presentation is done by me by taking the input from LinkedIn and converted into an adoptable, readable slide actually. That is what I have done. This is my value addition. But however, the technology, I am getting it updated as and when it is happening actually. Okay. So this is what finally, is coming into picture. So what we do here is we have come to the end of the presentation, and now we open the session for questions and answers. In case you have anything to ask, you can always ask questions related to the presentation, whatever I have made. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. That was a wonderful, a very fabulous lecture we have. Dear students and dear friends, this is time for question and answer. If you have any doubt and questions, please ask. Otherwise, we are going to end this session 1 and we'll coming back for the session 2 today at 2 p.m. exactly.
Thank you, sir. Very nice of you. But students are advised. I have my email ID here. You can always communicate with me through email. You can become friends in LinkedIn, so that you can definitely get the most advanced technology information with regards to what is happening today in the electrical engineering, particularly with regards to smart mechanism, smart metering, etc., and smart grid applications. So any questions, if you have, you can raise your question, and then I will be in a position to answer. But if you don't have any question, then we have one more session. You can definitely think of those questions in the afternoon also. We are meeting at 2 o'clock to discuss more about the smart meters.
Good afternoon, sir. I have a question.
Please identify yourself, sir.
I am Ashwini Oja.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Very good afternoon.
Sir, my question is, I have first two questions. Yeah. In one of your slide, you show asset management. I don't get it. What kind of asset management you are talking about? If you are talking about from the industrial point of view, it's like the smart monitoring of asset management. And my second question is why there is a need of this power line. I mean, why there is a need of communication line and household network. And what is how we can diagnose the fault in case of such a complex network? In one of your slide, you showed today's power network and tomorrow's choice. Yeah. I can clearly see tomorrow's choice is very complex. How we will diagnose these faults?
Yeah, very good. Very nice question.
Of any faults.
Very nice question.
Yes.
Yeah, I will answer your question. The first question what you have asked actually is about asset management. In fact,
yes, sir.
Asset management is a recent management trend in the electrical engineering. You have a lot of assets, with the electrical infrastructure in a power sector. When you talk of asset, we talk of generators, we talk of the transmission corridors, we talk of transmission lines, we talk of the transmission devices, we talk of the backup system, which is providing, the transmission network, and we talk of the distribution management, substation automation, and also we talk of so many other assets, which electricity board is holding it. So managing these assets is a very important aspect in the smart grid mechanism. Unless you have a system-oriented management approach for managing these assets, which are essentially important to provide 24/7 power supply system for the application, it is not possible for the smart grid to function. So more emphasis is made actually to protect these systems from the point of its operational characteristics, and also to provide a long-term service 24/7 power supply. So this is done by virtue of what? By virtue of knowing its healthiness, by virtue of knowing its conditional aspects, by knowing its hygiene, etc. So this management is known as asset management, which will be done by smart grid on its own. How? It will send a signal through the registered mobile to provide the information that this particular system is having a snag. Attend to that. Immediately, the distribution operator, transmission operator does the job. The mechanism with which this particular thing is done is known as asset management concept. Are you with me?
Yes, fine.
Fine. Second thing is, you have asked tomorrow's grid and today's grid. That is a very, very challenging question. The communication technology is a subject by itself. For example, today we have RF communication is also coming into picture. From 4G, we are moving to 5G. 5G is coming up later. Of course, it is the end technology in the sense that it is the upgraded technology. The 4G technology is a faster technology which is used, for communication purpose in a very big way today. And this communication is not only provided for the distribution management, it is provided in the transmission system. It is provided in the generation system to see that how the fault, wherever it has occurred, can be, in fact, addressed not only by the human interference, but by its own, what is called self-diagnostic system, or what we call self-healing mechanism. You must have heard of islanding. It separates the faulted section and it takes care of the healthy section and provides the necessary power for the particular application with which you are intended to apply for. And you are looking for 24/7 supply, which is ensured by this smart grid by virtue of what is known as feedback mechanism, with which the communication is playing a major role to provide necessary structure for the smart grid to act according to the situational aspect. So today's grid is not envisaged for this. Tomorrow's grid, what I told is envisaged for this type of self-healable characteristic feature. I think I have addressed your question. Right?
Yes, sir.
Very nice. Thank you for that question. In fact, this is a very nice question. Very good question, actually. Any others? Please let it be interactive. Spending 5 minutes more will not cost you anything. Okay. So having come all the way for the online platform, we will be in a position to address more, interactive session and make it more meaningful for the technology point of view. What you have to understand today is what is happening today in not only in India, but elsewhere, particularly overseas. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think
thank
there
you,
is
Professor
no more
Pankaj
questions
Sharma.
right now.
Thank you, Professor Pankaj Sharma, for having given me a good opportunity to interact with people and also to share my thoughts, with regards to what is needed, in the communication and infrastructural technology, the smart grid mechanism. So we will see in the afternoon, and I think probably we will call it a day today, particularly before noon session. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. The pleasure is mine. Thank you, dear participants. Dear friends, dear professor, this is the end of session 1 today. We are going to meet today's session 2 at exactly 2 p.m. So be with us. Thank you so much. You all can leave this session.